Hi, I'm Marlon Mueller. I'm a farm boy from Iowa who became a multimillionaire. I've spent 35 years mastering wealth principles. However, there were times I felt like I would never get there, making many mistakes in my journey. I want to help you avoid making the same mistakes and create your faster path to wealth. Are you ready to take your next step?
Marlon, welcome to Wealth Building Wednesdays with Marlon Mueller. How you doing
Hey,
today?
good to be here.
I got to tell you, Marlon, I've really enjoyed this. Looking forward to this every week. We're at week 3 right now. I'm going to ask everyone to share this. There's 35 years plus of wisdom, research, many mistakes. And Diane's on. Diane, I'm so glad you made it today. Welcome. So Marlon, what I wanted to share with, or what I wanted to start off with is before we get into the actual content of what you're going to share today, because let me just share with everyone what you, little teaser, you're going to talk about how to really magnify wealth, a particular vehicle and a strategy to help magnify wealth. And we're going to get into that. And I want to point out that even if you're new to this, you don't even have a start, you're still going to get a lot from this. Marlon, what I want to ask you, what do you think is the most unique element of your wealth journey? What would you say is the most unique thing about your journey? If somebody was new stepping in here, you know, what makes you unique, different, something that happened along your journey, anything that you feel that is different?
Wow. There, that's really hard to say because every step was something I learned new, and the challenge was there. I usually lost money, and at the end, I had a lesson that I learned. So,
Okay.
if anything, the uniqueness is I never gave up. I mean, it's just, I mean, even
Okay.
today, I'm still learning and probably still make mistakes and probably, hopefully not lose money, but, you get wiser and smarter at it. But yeah, at the beginning, it was just like one lesson after another lesson after another lesson with losing money, finding out maybe that wasn't the right vehicle or timing was off and I didn't understand the concept. It's just lots of reasons.
Lots of reasons, but it's interesting because now, based on that story, you've uncovered an incredible strategy that you want to share today. Is that correct?
Correct. Right. And to me, I titled it as Insurance Your Way to Wealth. Which
What does it say it one more time?
Insurance Your Way to Wealth.
Okay. Insurance, your way to wealth. Now, some people are going, wait, what do you mean insurance?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I have insurance, car insurance, life insurance, health insurance. Like, what are we talking about here? Am I selling insurance? Am I going to sell my way to wealth?
So the thing is with insurance, I mean, most of the time you're always looking at it as an expense and you try to buy it as cheaply as possible to get the most protection. And that's kind of true. But in order to kind of define where I'm going with this, we got to look at the difference. And there's 2 distinct differences between the rich and the poor. And Robert Kiyosaki kind of said it really well. For the philosophy of the rich and the poor, there's this difference. The rich invest their money and then they spend what's left over, where the poor person will spend their money and then they want to invest what's left over. And usually, as most of us know, there's nothing left over. The second key distinction I see is it's important for the wealthy to grow their skills and their character and stuff rather than to cut their dreams, where the poor person will reduce their dreams to meet their income level.
Say that one more time, because that's worth sharing.
What, that second part?
The last part you just said. And by the way, if you're listening live, if something resonates with you, if you can type it in the chat, we really appreciate that.
So
the last thing you said, Marlon.
Yeah. The wealthy mindset will look at their dreams and they won't reduce their dreams. They will increase their skill sets to get to that, reach their dreams.
Okay. So let's grab this. So what you're saying is we're talking about mindset, somebody with a a not wealthy mindset or a poor mindset will reduce their means upon looking at their resources.
Well, they'll reduce their dreams,
Reduce their dreams.
instead of maybe buying this type of house that would meet their needs, they look at their income and what they can afford, and they go, I'll just get this one, instead of trying to increase their skills to get the income to get the house that they really need.
So what you're saying is they will reduce their dreams based on their income or their money situation instead of increase their skills without like keep their dreams where they are, and then just say, okay, what's the skill set gap, not the money gap. It sounds like what I'm hearing you say.
Right.
Wow. That's a light bulb moment. I got the light bulb here from the show. Well, as I'll use it. That's a light bulb moment right there.
Yeah.
Just a different way. It's a different perspective and a different way to look at this.
Yeah. So to get into where I want to go, so one of I consider my earlier mistakes is I listened to a salesman that was selling decreasing term with an annuity. You got to remember back then, interest rates were really high. I mean, we're talking like 10, 11, 12%, but they were at that point were also decreasing. And so he came along and they had an annuity that paid out a 10% guaranteed rate with a decreasing term, which I thought, hey, that makes sense, because the annuity would grow, the insurance would go down in value. Eventually, I would have the annuity. The problem with it is after 1 year, the annuity value dropped to 4%. And this is back when banks, you could get 5 or more for savings accounts. So I wasn't going to have that growth, but there was all these penalties. And it was like, oh my gosh. I mean, so eventually I got my life insurance license. And then I bought into the concept of buy term, invest a difference, which meant we invest in mutual funds. Of course, 2 problems with that is term insurance gets more expensive over time, and mutual funds, as I learned through a couple of downturns, they go up, they go down, and after 2 downturns, I really wasn't any farther ahead. So then I was like, okay, you just keep learning. And eventually, this is a number of years ago, I got challenged by a guy in my church, and went to his office, ended up, he was a life insurance guy, and he's like, hey, you need safety insurance. I just buy term and invest a difference, even though the investing difference wasn't working that well. And I thought, well, maybe I need to revisit life insurance. Mm-hmm. So I spent 3 months just deep diving in, just every minute, just, researching. And it came across this concept, which really wasn't new, but it's new to me. That's a really old concept. I mean, we're talking like JCPenney used this concept to start JCPenney stores, or Walt Disney when he started Disneyland, or Ray Kroc when he started the McDonald's franchise. I mean, they all used this concept, and the concept was they borrowed against their life insurance policies to start their businesses.
Okay, so here we're on to something here. So what type of life insurance policy are we talking about? And what you're saying is you open up this policy. And Marlon, I know you're an expert on this, so we're going to have more on this if you're coming to the live event. Marlon's going to be there. He's coming all the way from Iowa to Cherry Hill to spend time with us to impart some of this wisdom. So you get this insurance policy, and what you're saying is you borrow against it to fuel a business, something like that. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's what they did, right?
Okay.
So the reason you didn't really see that in my life so much was because mutual funds, 401ks became really popular in the 80s, 90s, et cetera, even today. So people were funneling their money into those vehicles, looking for that safety net, that growth, and everything else. But you know what? Also, when I was doing research, you know who the number 1 purchaser of whole life insurance is?
The number 1 purchaser of whole life insurance. Are you talking about individual demographic or organization?
Cheap for an organization. That's a
family. No, I mean, no, that's not a good guess. Let me think here. Who would be the number 1 purchaser?
Conventional banks.
Conventional banks.
Right.
Okay.
They call them bank-owned life insurance. And it's a form of life insurance that the banking industry uses as a tax shelter and to fund their employee benefits. They own more life insurance than they do the value of their bank buildings and land. That
So
and
you're
think
saying
about
the actual bank, not the individuals in the bank, but the bank
bank,
organization of itself, okay, purchases or opens up a life insurance policy, right?
right? And they use them on their employees. So, like, you take an executive who gets a huge benefit package. So they put the life insurance on that employee, and even when they leave, they get tax-free benefits or paid on the executive's death. So literally, the bank
Wow.
never has to pay out anything. In a sense, they get that money, and usually life insurance policies, they're bigger than they ever paid out. So they also kind of, in a sense, make money off that employee. But
Wow.
they are the number one purchaser of life insurance policies.
Okay, we're going to get more into this, but here's Jenna saying, what is sad that I worked in life insurance for 20 years and never figured this out.
Yeah.
So let's dive into this concept more, because this is one of those, and I want to just say this, this is where you've made a lot of mistakes. You've clearly said that you've wasted a lot of money, but something told you to go back into this life insurance concept, there's some innovation here. Basically, is what I see is taking an old concept, innovating it, and using it to magnify your returns. So let's go a little deeper into this.
Yeah. So the other thing I question about banks, or maybe not question, but concerned, is banks are controlled by the Federal Reserve, which is a private banking group. And we know they make a lot of mistakes. But insurance companies, especially you look at old mutual insurance companies, been around, many of them, for over 100 years, been through all kinds of ups and downs. And as a mutual company, you as a policy owner, you're part owner of that mutual company. But what I'm actually talking about isn't necessarily just strictly a pure whole life policy, but what we call modified. And there's
Modified
whole life. And so there's other names for that. Some people call it infinite banking, cash flow banking, bank on yourself, money multiplier, wealth maximizing account. I mean, there's lots of, I call them marketing arms that promote that kind of stuff. But the key thing is that you use your life insurance not for the benefit of the death benefits, but for living expenses. So the goal is to grow the cash faster.
This is different. This is a different concept here. You take your life insurance, use it for living expense. Is that what you said?
Life. Yeah, it's called life insurance for a reason.
Wow.
It's not called death insurance. It's called life insurance.
Bingo. So let's keep going. This is great stuff, Marlon.
So I believe this type of insurance is the basis. I mean, it's the beginning step for building wealth, long-lasting wealth. I mean, it's number one step.
The number one step for building long-lasting wealth is what you called modified whole life insurance. Is this right?
Right.
Let me put that up on the screen here.
It becomes your fund. It's your fund for emergencies. It's your fund for vacations. It's your wealth building account, your investment account. It's there for your business needs, and it's there for tax-free retirement.
Now, this sounds like too good to be true. Right?
But it's been around forever.
It's been around forever. And now, how long have you successfully utilized this strategy?
I don't remember exactly when it began, but it's been a number of years, and I've used it in different situations. Primarily, I use it. I mean, it's kind of like an emergency fund in a sense, but I also use it primarily for my investment vehicle.
Now,
and I'll get into that next week and how I use
so
it.
next week we're going to talk about how to use this concept for an investment vehicle. Marlon,
Right.
So Marlon, is it safe to say you've been 5 years?
Oh yeah, at least
5 years you've been utilizing this strategy.
And I've got friends that I work with that have been doing it for 17 years. So,
17 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's not a new system. In fact, there's a book I recommend. It's called Becoming Your Own Banker. It is written by Nelson Nash. Nelson Nash is kind of considered the grandfather of this concept, even though, like I said, it's been around forever. And So anyway, when I read that book, that was my light bulb moment. Even though there's other books out there I read and I was studying during that 3-month period. But
Okay,
for me,
I want to grab this book for everyone because I know they're going to want it. Is it Become Your Own Banker, Unlock the Infinite Banking?
right.
Okay, I'm going to grab the link here. So if people want to buy this book, they can do it, because I know you're giving out a lot of great stuff today. And by the way, Marlon is working on his own book. So Marlon does other things other than the modified whole life. He's got other things, other vehicles, and that's going to be in your upcoming ebook, which will be announced this year. We'll be talking about when that's coming out. I think, how would you like to utilize 35 years of research and experience? That's what we're talking about. You can't get that overnight. It's lots of mistakes, money invested, learning the hard
Money
way in
lost.
some cases,
Yeah, right.
and then distilling it into a package that you can understand, you can grasp, and you can utilize. So next week, we're going to talk about how to use this vehicle, and maybe we can get into how to set this up, because that I think people are going to want to know, how do I do this? How do I, how do I get started in this whole thing, Marlon? It sounds great, but how do I do it? Somebody may be asking the question.
And the thing is like, even most insurance guys don't understand this concept. That's
Clearly, because clearly, because just wanted, for those, Jenna was sharing this, worked in insurance for 20 years, never figured it out. So go ahead. Yeah, this is an interesting idea.
Yeah, because once I learned the concept, then my challenge was finding someone that could actually do what I knew in my head. I knew what needed to be done. I just didn't know the how, because I wasn't in an insurance side. And so
you didn't know all the gory details, but you knew you could do it, and you knew you could set it up. You just needed somebody to help you with all the in between stuff.
Right, because it was a new concept that I didn't know how to set it up, and I wasn't in insurance at the time. Mm-hmm. But it's such a great vehicle. I mean, if people understood it, because the thing is like, I always bought cars with cash because I didn't want to pay the bank's interest in making them wealthy. So I thought I was smarter. But when I learned this system, I realized I wasn't, because even though I was saving my money, making interest on the money till I bought the vehicle, once I bought that vehicle, those dollars are gone forever. There's an opportunity cost in those dollars I lost forever, never to gain them back. And
wow.
But inside the life insurance policy, if I borrow against that money inside the policy to go buy the vehicle and then pay back the policy like I would if I had a bank loan, unlike the bank, I'm still making money inside the policy. My money is still making money. It never, ever
brilliant.
Disappears.
Brilliant.
And not only that, if something happens to me, all the debt I have against my policies gets wiped out and paid by the insurance companies, and my family's debt free.
So you're not leaving your family with the burden of debt. It's just brilliant. If you have a question for Marlon, or you want to share if something's coming through you, I may not see all the chats. If you're on my personal page, I'll see it. If you're on YouTube, I'll see it. But if you have a question, if this is like, wow, I want to learn more, we want you to learn more. We're going to be back next week at 12:30 with the continuation of this. That's going to be week number 4. I think we slated 5 weeks, I believe, to do this. Right. So we got 2 more weeks of this left. And like I said, Marlon's got a book coming out. So Marlon, this has been great. Is there anything else you want to share before
I'll share one more concept that, for people that have kids and they're trying to build a college fund. So the thing is, most people are promoted the 529 plan.
Yes.
It's kind of the government plan. But if your kids don't go to college, or you don't use it up, or it's in the market, all that kind of stuff. And if you got a lot of money, like some of my friends would have a lot of money in that plan, and their kids go apply for scholarships, when you fill out the FAFSA, and you have to report that, which goes against,
right?
Because you're smart and putting money away, it goes against you to get any kind of scholarships and so forth.
Yes.
However, if you put this money into the life insurance policy and borrow against that policy to pay for the college education, it never shows up. You could have $200,000 life insurance cash value, borrow against that to pay for college and pay it back. Never losing that money, doesn't go against getting scholarships and grants. I mean, there's so many ways.
It sounds like it's just like an unlimited opportunity. So next week, Marlon's going to get more in detail on this particular vehicle. Book coming out. Marlon, if somebody wanted to connect with you directly, just what would you want them to do?
They can email me at Marlon, Marlon, at the Wealth Wise, and Wise is WHYS.com.
Marlon at, wait, I may have that. Do I have that up here? I may have that still. And if I don't, I will get it, because we got to get your email out there for everyone. Okay, I'm going to type it in for right now. And if you have questions in the meantime, we're going to be wrapping up in the next couple minutes. So again, if something excited you, intrigued you, you have a question, type it in. If I see your question, I'll get it. Sometimes I don't see all the quotes and comments, but I'll look for it. So it's Marlon at the WEALTH Wealth, WHYS, right?
Right.
Wealthwise.com.
Right.
All right, Marlon, I'm going to put it up. Let's just confirm that this is right. I'm pretty sure I know it is, but I just want to make sure. Is this it right here, right? Marlon
Right.
at thewealthwise.com.
Right.
Okay. You can email Marlon directly and connect with him. You want to stay connected with Marlon as he starts to impart more of his wisdom that he's accrued over 35 years, starting out as a farm boy, going through a lot of ups and downs with his own family, and realizing there has to be a better way, and literally investing 35 plus years to get the knowledge and to distill it into vehicles that work, like we're talking about today, like this modified whole life, and the capabilities and the unlimited potential of it to magnify your wealth. And I know there's a lot more to it. We barely scratched the tip.
I mean, you can just go on and on how this can be used, and and like I said, just finding the right person, because there are people out there that just specialize in this, and there's companies specialize in this, but even that, you still got to kind of know a little.
Right.
I've actually found, some people that I go, they will do the right thing.
So this is a good point, Marlon. Just because you heard this, don't go call your insurance guy and go, hey, I heard this guy talking about modified whole life. You're not going to get the distillation and the curation that Marlon has gone through to set this process up, because many of them are not going to know how to do it. They're going to say, oh, you should go this way. They're going to try to take another direction.
Right.
And what you're saying is many of them that know how to do it are still not going to set it up the way that you know how to do it. Is that right?
Well, you want somebody that you can know that will do it for your benefit, because this type of policy, what makes it unique is the commissions aren't really paid out like they would be on a traditional whole life or any of the other types of policies. And because that was actually my first question, knowing, being a past agent, that I'm like, so why would you want to sell this type of insurance? Because you don't get paid like you would in some of the other types. And but one of the guys said, well, because you're going to buy more than one, which we actually have 9 policies between our wife and I. Yeah. Okay. And but a lot of it was testing out, and not all the policies are what I call ideal. But one thing a lot of people never think about is, once you pass that age, whatever age you are, you never can go back there. So the policies that I bought, several years ago, some of my first ones, I can't go back there to get that premium value cost. And so I had a mentor that I said, I'm thinking about getting rid of that one. They're like, no, you can't ever buy that kind of a deal again. It's not perfect, but it'll still work. Just hang on to it. So
know all these little nuances of what to navigate through. Yeah. Marlon, this has been awesome. And I just want to tell everybody that Marlon is going to be at the next event that we're doing. Let me grab that link for everybody, because we're excited. Marlon's going to be doing a whole talk on this. And well, not only the talk, but you're going to be there to answer questions. I know there's going to be a lot of dialogue outside of your talk. I'm sure,
Right.
I envision a lot of people are going to be pulling you aside and saying, "Hey, Marlon." So I would imagine there's going to be a lot of that going on, which is going to be great because then people can start to take action on this. So
Right.
you can come to that event. We have a whole community. We have the live event. And so, Marlon, this has been another great show for everyone. We encourage you to share it with people who want to learn. Don't just share it with anyone, right? There's a quote in the Bible. What's it say? Don't cast your pearls before swine, right? So not everybody's going to see the value in this. But if you see the value in this and you know someone else that'll see the value in this, share it with somebody who will value it. What's that? Don't give it to people who need it. Give it to people who want it. There's many people that need it, but very few will want it. And I think that's a great distinction. So,
well, saying that reminds me, I kind of forgot about that, but I actually was introduced to this concept a couple years before I figured it out myself by an insurance guy. And I just thought, I don't get it. Why would you do that? So sometimes you got to hear it more than once.
And that's okay. We'll be more than happy to tell you more than once, but there's great vehicles out here. So again, this has been a great time with Marlon Mueller, farm boy to multimillionaire, 35 plus years, learning this vehicle, modified whole life insurance. But again, don't just go call anybody. You definitely want to learn it from Marlon because of the way he's distilled it and curated it. And you have mentors and you've been doing this for well over 5 years. I'm just so excited for you to join us here. And next week, by the way, we'll be back next week. I will put that link out on my Facebook page and share it again. And so next week, Marlon, you want to set up next week for us?
Yeah. So next week, I'm actually going to talk about how I've used this insurance to multiply the money in some of my investment vehicles.
So you want to throw out like a return just to get some people's interest? Like if you could
so inside the policies, I got a return inside there, the dividends are paying out,
well, before you do that, I'm just saying, like, if you could grab one thing you did that just combines all of it, right? Instead of looking at them individually, what are you able to like give me like an estimate?
Well, I mean, we're talking strong double-digit returns. So, I mean, I've got one of my.
You talking 20?
And higher, yeah.
So 20%. So again, I don't think we need to get into the details right now. But you're saying through this strategy, you're upward in some cases over 20% return.
Yeah, usually it's over 20%.
Usually,
yeah.
So this is awesome. So you definitely want to join us next week. 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, Wealth Building Wednesdays with Marlon Mueller, farm boy to multimillionaire. I'll share this. Anything else, Marlon? We're going to say goodbye for now.
Well, let's just we'll hit it up next week.
We'll hit it up next week.
I mean, there's so much you just can't share it all, and it's just too much.
It's too much. That's why you want to get to the live event and you want to learn more about Marlon. So I'll share this little commercial. Marlon and I are working together. I'm helping him. He's helping me. Here's a little thing. So we'll see you next week, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Marlon Mueller. I'm a farm boy from Iowa who became a multimillionaire. I've spent 35 years mastering wealth principles. However, there were times I felt like I would never get there, making many mistakes in my journey. I want to help you avoid making the same mistakes and create your faster path to wealth. Are you ready to take your next step? Well, basically, I wanted to create a message to share my experiences and to help others, but I had no idea how to do that. Not only just in creating the message, but how to do it online. So I reached out to Austin because I saw what he was doing and I liked it, and I figured I could learn from him. So that's why I'm working with Austin. It's like a skeleton that's getting flesh added to it. That's kind of how I feel. It's like we're creating and fleshing out things to create this body that's going to start running.